I want to be in your perfect will for my life. If you can use me. And I was just a young girl, 20 years of age in Moonville, South Carolina, if you can believe that.
Many people know Joni Lamb as a well-known Christian broadcaster, author, and the co-founder of a global Christian television network. For years, she built a reputation for sharing messages of faith, hope, and family values. But now, shocking claims about an FBI search at her mansion have left many people asking difficult questions. But what did investigators reportedly find behind the mansion's gates? And why has this story captured attention across the country? Is there more to what happened than the headlines suggest, or is the truth very different from what many people believe? FBI raid on Joni Lamb's mansion. FBI agents arrived at Joni Lamb's mansion late at night. Their vehicles broke the silence as they drove toward the property. Neighbors woke up to flashing red and blue lights, reflecting off the huge iron gates surrounding the estate. It was not the first time the media had raised questions about the finances of religious leaders. However, this situation felt very different. There had been no warning, no public accusations, and no media attention before the raid. Instead, there was a sudden and massive FBI operation, making it seem as though the agents already knew exactly what they were searching for. The official explanation gave very little information. Authorities only said they were carrying out an ongoing investigation involving financial mismanagement, suspicious donations, and possible fraud. But behind the scenes, rumors painted a much darker picture. People whispered that the investigation was about far more than money. They believed it involved hidden secrets buried inside Joni Lamb's mansion, something so shocking that it required a full-scale FBI search. Federal agents moved through the mansion with confidence and purpose. They walked past beautifully decorated rooms, expensive paintings, luxury furniture, and other signs of great wealth. The house showed the kind of fortune that could only come from years of influence and power. But the agents were not interested in the furniture, jewelry, or luxury cars. They were searching for something much more important, something hidden beneath the surface. Then they found it. At first, it looked like nothing more than a locked door in a quiet part of the mansion that was rarely used. But this door stood out. It was reinforced, carefully hidden, and looked completely out of place in a normal home. The agents quickly worked around the security system before forcing the door open. When they finally looked inside, the room fell completely silent. The mansion was also used for the ministry's twice-yearly telethon, now called Heart for the World. Inside was a large room filled with phones, cubicles, and hundreds of workers answering calls all day. During the telethon, the prayer department handled calls from people who wanted to make donations. Whenever the number of callers became too high, every employee was expected to help answer the phones. One former employee remembered one of those busy days. The phones would not stop ringing, and eventually one call came through to them. On the other end was an elderly woman who was crying. She explained that she was deeply in debt and had no money left. The only thing she still had was the remaining credit on her credit card. She wanted to give it to the ministry because the person speaking during the telethon had promised that if she donated $1,000 that day, God would bless her with $10,000 in return. The employee later admitted that accepting her credit card information was one of the worst moments of their life. They said it felt completely wrong to process the payment from someone who was already struggling financially. That experience became the first time they seriously questioned whether they wanted to continue working for the organization. Beyond the telethon area was another room, a private study. So, what does the private room contain? Could it be used as a safe? Let's find out. Joni Lamb's secret room. What the agents found along the walls made the room even more surprising. There were rows of filing cabinets, all carefully labeled and locked. At the far end of the room stood a large safe with a digital keypad, almost as if it were challenging anyone to unlock it. Papers were spread across a costly mahogany desk. They included financial records, business contracts, and several sealed envelopes with the names of well-known political and religious leaders written on them. The agents quickly got to work. They opened every drawer, searched every cabinet, and collected every document they found. Some of the records were very disturbing. They discovered detailed financial reports connected to offshore bank accounts, records showing money being sent to unknown organizations, and lists of donations that did not seem to match official records. Large amounts of money had been moved in secret, with no clear explanation of where it came from or where it was going. But an even bigger surprise was waiting. Behind one of the bookshelves in the study, the agents found a hidden panel. It opened into a secret room that no one expected to exist. The room was covered in dust, making it seem as though it had not been entered for many years. However, what was inside told a very different story. Shelves were filled with locked boxes. Some contained old videotapes, while others held very old documents that looked ready to fall apart. In the middle of the room was another desk, almost identical to the one upstairs. Its drawers were packed with handwritten notes, personal letters, and what looked like private confessions. Some were signed, while others had no names. Then the agents found a small, plain box filled with VHS tapes. Each tape had a date and a name written on it. Many of the names belonged to well-known religious and political figures who had faced rumors of wrongdoing for years, but had never been officially charged. No one outside the investigation knew what was recorded on those tapes. However, the way the agents carefully handled them, as if they contained extremely important evidence, quickly caught the public's attention. The discovery of the tapes changed the entire investigation. One person later explained what happened after reviewing some of the evidence. They showed me several things, including text messages, emails, and other documents. After seeing them, I realized I needed to go back and speak with Jonathan and Susie again to hear their side of the story. I plan to do that the very next morning. I'm not going to keep going back and forth forever. I looked at the evidence they shared with me, and I listened to both sides. I also trusted what I felt while speaking with Jonathan and Susie, and I had similar feelings when I spoke with Dayar. I'm going to publish the interview so everyone can watch it, discuss it, agree with it, or criticize it. I believe that's the fair thing to do. After that, I'll make one final video explaining the evidence they showed me. Some of what I saw raised serious questions, so I needed to hear Jonathan and Susie's response. Once I share everything and include their side of the story, I'll consider the matter finished. What had started as an investigation into possible financial crimes now appeared to be something much bigger and far more serious. But why did Joni Lamb keep these recordings? Were they meant to be used as blackmail, as protection if something went wrong, or as evidence of something much darker happening behind the scenes? Let's take a closer look. Hidden secrets that left everyone speechless. As the FBI continued searching the mansion, they reportedly came across even more surprising discoveries. In the basement, agents found another hidden space. Inside were old artifacts, some believed to be hundreds of years old. There were religious objects, ancient writings, and documents that some people claimed contained information kept secret for generations. Some of the writings seemed to discuss forbidden religious teachings, while others appeared to contain coded messages that investigators could not easily understand. The agents also opened a large safe after spending hours trying to unlock it. Inside, they reportedly found stacks of cash that could not easily be traced, along with more recordings. They also discovered several handwritten letters signed only with initials said to match those of powerful people. Officials did not reveal what the letters contained because they were reportedly part of an ongoing federal investigation. The fact that they had been hidden away raised even more questions. Outside the mansion, reporters gathered, hoping to learn what had happened. Rumors spread quickly. Some people claimed the documents contained proof of corruption involving well-known figures. Others believed the recordings held confessions that could damage powerful organizations. The FBI, however, did not comment and continued its work without answering questions. As the search continued, investigators reportedly uncovered old photographs showing meetings between people not expected to know each other. Bank records appeared to reveal secret financial transactions spanning many years, along with a ledger listing payments to unnamed individuals or organizations. The findings suggested something more serious than poor financial management. After several hours, FBI agents seized boxes of evidence and departed, leaving the mansion at the center of an investigation surrounded by unanswered questions. As news of the investigation spread, public attention grew. Joni Lamb, who had spent years speaking about faith and hope, now found herself surrounded by controversy. With every new report and rumor, many wondered whether this story was only just beginning. In another widely discussed moment, Joni Lamb shared a story about a disagreement that happened during a television program. She said that a few weeks earlier, she felt God had told her to choose a viewer's comment to read on the air because they had received many emails about the new hosting team. According to her, when a producer found a comment mentioning Doug, Susie became upset, walked away from the set, and created a scene before leaving. Later, Jonathan came into the studio and told her he would read a different viewer comment, but was not comfortable reading the first one. Joni said she asked him why, but he simply replied that he was uncomfortable. She then told him that if he was unwilling to read the comment, she was not comfortable having him on the show and would remove him from that episode. She said Jonathan argued with her, which surprised her because she described him as someone who had rarely challenged her in the past. She added that he later sent her an email that she considered mysterious. Instead of replying, she said she asked for advice from Jimmy Evans, whom she described as someone who had supported her throughout her personal journey and knew the details of their relationship. So, why did the FBI raid the house? Was there any previous allegation? Let's find out. The truth behind the raid. The moment news spread that the FBI had raided Joni Lamb's mansion, the media went into a frenzy. Every major news network rushed to cover the story, and within hours, rumors and guesses were everywhere. There were far more questions than answers, and that only made people even more curious. Talk show hosts, investigative reporters, and internet users quickly began sharing their own theories. Some believed it was simply a financial scandal involving fraud or poor money management that had gotten out of control. Others were convinced that something much darker was hiding behind the scenes. The FBI refused to reveal exactly what agents had taken from the mansion, making the mystery even bigger. With so little official information, people started filling in the blanks with their own ideas and assumptions. The first theory that became popular was that the raid had uncovered illegal financial activities. Joni Lamb had built a large religious organization that received millions of dollars in donations over the years. Many supporters believed that money had been used to help others and support the ministry. However, critics had long questioned reports of expensive spending, overseas bank accounts, and suspicious financial transactions. When reports claimed that hidden financial records had been found inside the mansion, those suspicions grew even stronger. Journalists began searching through tax records, business documents, and donation reports, hoping to find anything unusual. Some claimed they had discovered evidence of huge money transfers to unknown bank accounts, possibly connected to shell companies. Others pointed to luxury purchases that did not match the humble image Joni had always presented. Private jets, multi-million-dollar homes, and exclusive gatherings with powerful and influential people were suddenly being examined closely. Every financial decision she had ever made was now being questioned. Then, new information began to appear. These new details suggested the investigation was about much more than money. According to sources close to the case, FBI agents had discovered a hidden study, a secret safe, and a collection of recorded tapes inside the mansion. Some people believed the safe contained highly sensitive information, possibly evidence connecting her to powerful political figures, or even material that could be used for blackmail. The idea that a well-known religious leader might have secretly collected damaging information about influential people sent shockwaves across the country. However, online forums and social media quickly filled with endless discussions, theories, and debates, as people tried to guess what the FBI had really uncovered. Could this be part of a much bigger conspiracy? Was Joni involved in something far deeper than anyone had imagined? Let's find out. Lamb conspiracy theory. An even more shocking theory quickly spread across the internet. Some people claimed that Joni Lamb was connected to a secret group that worked behind the scenes in religious and political circles. According to these rumors, the FBI had found documents showing hidden connections between well-known religious leaders and wealthy business figures. Others believed her mansion had been used for private meetings, secret deals, or even illegal activities. As often happens online, the story grew bigger with every new post. Soon, hashtags like Lamb Conspiracy and What Did They Find were trending. YouTube creators uploaded long videos with dramatic titles such as Joni Lamb's Hidden Vault, The Secrets the FBI Doesn't Want You to Know, and The Dark Truth Behind Joni Lamb's Religious Empire Exposed. Some of these videos attracted millions of views in just a few hours. Their comment sections were filled with theories, some that sounded believable and many that were completely unbelievable. During the growing controversy, Joni spoke about reaching out to experienced ministry leaders for advice. She said she called around 200 pastors who had spent more than 30 years in ministry. She also spoke with a prophetic minister whom she trusted and believed had faithfully served God for many years. According to Joni, they all gave similar advice.
I tucked it under the mattress, and a few months later, this dashing young evangelist came into my world.
The prophetic minister reportedly told her, "This is your Alamo. You need to stand your ground because this is your husband, and he deserves to be treated with respect and honor." She also said that Jimmy explained that people serving in a ministry should respect and follow the leadership of that ministry. Otherwise, he warned, the ministry could become filled with confusion and disorder. Joni then described a meeting where everyone was seated around a table. Susie sat in one chair, John sat in another. Jimmy was there, and Joni took her own seat. She admitted that she was very upset about some of the comments she had read in an email. She explained that the comments did not come from the ministry team, but from a viewer. Joni said she brought up the message during the meeting because Jimmy was available that Tuesday. She reminded everyone that he had many years of life experience and had gone through many difficult situations. She also reflected on her own journey with Marcus, saying they had fought many battles while building the ministry from nothing. She added that their children had grown up differently because they had been blessed and had lived a much more protected life. Meanwhile, major news organizations tried to report the story fairly. However, the public's demand for answers kept growing. Investigative reporters repeatedly asked the FBI for official statements, but every request was met with silence. Even respected television commentators and journalists began sharing their own opinions. So, other things were discovered? Could it be more surprising? Let's find out. New claims about Joni Lamb's mansion. Rumors soon spread that a black book had been found inside the mansion. According to leaked reports, the FBI discovered a list of names locked inside a safe. The names were said to belong to donors, business partners, or possibly other people whose roles were unclear. Some people believed it was simply a normal list of donors. Others thought it pointed to something much more serious. Conspiracy theories quickly spread online, with some claiming Joni had been keeping records of secret dealings involving powerful and influential people. Theories ranged from political blackmail to claims that the list exposed corrupt individuals who had been working together behind closed doors. As news organizations tried to confirm these reports, another shocking claim appeared. Sources alleged that investigators found surveillance equipment inside the mansion. The devices were said to include advanced recording equipment, encrypted hard drives, and security footage that supposedly captured private meetings. The FBI did not comment on these claims, but leaked reports suggested investigators were carefully examining everything they found. Some people believed Joni had been forced to stay silent, and that someone else had really been controlling events behind the scenes. The media coverage only grew more intense. Every day brought new rumors and theories, each more dramatic than the last. Some claimed the entire investigation had been planned by Joni's enemies to destroy her reputation. Others believed she had been gathering evidence to expose corruption before someone turned against her. Meanwhile, her supporters became deeply divided. Some stood firmly by her side, insisting she was being framed. Others found it difficult to balance their faith with the growing controversy. Religious leaders also shared different opinions. Some distanced themselves from Joni, while others urged the public to wait until all the facts were known. So, what do you think about the shocking discovery by the FBI in Joni Lamb's mansion? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.